I just can't take no pleasure in killing. Just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
You want to know what happens to an eyeball when it gets punctured? So you got any idea how much blood jets out of a guy's neck when his throat's been slit?
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
There you go. DJ Anubis here with you on Meltdown Radio Podcast with my co-host, Mr. Tony Aded for the Ghouls of Midnight. And we have a very special guest, director, writer, producer Shawn Wright of a movie called Night of the Axe, which I used to have a poster up behind me, but as we're scaling down a little bit, I had to move some stuff around, but eventually when we get our new place, it'll be back up. And of course, for those that don't know, the big idiot next to me was a star in the movie. So yeah, there we are with that. I'm not gonna give him any more love. So
is there somebody on the other side of you? Is there somebody on the other side of you or something? Another big idiot?
You, yeah. This idiot right here, yeah. But yeah, Sean, thanks for joining us today, man. It's been a while, so good to see you again.
Nice to be
And we
here.
are, of
Thank you.
course, here to review Killer Campout 2017, directed by Brad Twigg, who initially just did Crackoon. If you haven't seen that yet, I have a review out for that, and so does Mr. Tony Dead. There he goes. He actually has it signed. How special.
Yes.
Stars Herschel Gordon Lewis, Jesse L. Green, and Gary Lee Vincent. And I think Gary Lee was in Crackoon, wasn't he? He looked familiar.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were in this that were in that.
So the plot here is two youth counselors bring a group of emotionally troubled teens deep into the woods for a weekend of solitude and confrontational therapy. The trip turns deadly when they are terrorized by a cannibalistic hermit with a thirst for blood.
Blood.
So yeah, obviously this was Tony's pick this time. He and I alternate week to week which ones we're going to watch, and this was his pick. So Tony, just kind of lay it out why you went with this one. What was your thinking? Was it because of Crackoon or just for the sake of it?
Well, I don't think it was because of Crackoon, because I don't think at the time I watched it, but it's kind of like one of those I have it sitting on my shelf and I wanted to watch it and I just never got around to it. And then part 2 came out and I contributed to that Indiegogo and now it's like, well, I didn't see the first one yet. So I was like, let's watch it on here. Then I can watch the second one. Because I don't know if you need to watch the first one to watch the second one, but that's how I wanted to do it. So that's why we watched it, because I wanted to finally watch it.
Yeah. Sean, was this your first time seeing it, or had you seen it previously?
I saw it a couple years ago. I bought a copy of it at Monster Mania from Brad Twigg a couple years ago. And actually, my Killer Campout signed too by a couple people. But yeah, I've seen it a couple years ago.
Awesome. All right. So really at the beginning here, we obviously see this group of teens that are troubled and they're out on this camping trip to sort of
teens.
Yeah, exactly. And how inappropriate some of the counselors are, man. But anyway,
yeah.
They're obviously getting together, and there's already all this tension. Like, you know, I think one of the guys played by, I think it's Julio Bana Fernandez, who plays John, like the headbanger dude. Kind of like hitting it up on this girl. I can't remember which one it was. But, you know, he's just trying to like be nice guy, talk to her and stuff. And then, of course, we have this other guy come up, kind of giving him a bit, looking for cigarettes. He kept saying, "You're bugging me. I don't have any cigarettes for you. Quit bothering me."
Yeah, I only have enough packs for the weekend.
Yeah. So obviously, what is your guys' first thinking of like how it's starting out, the setup and all that stuff? So we'll start with Sean. What were your thoughts early in the film here?
My thoughts early in the film. Well, I knew going in it was going to be a low budget splatter kind of movie, and just right off the bat, it starts out as that. You got a Herschel Gordon Lewis voiceover, sort of a tribute to him. You got some death scenes that aren't anywhere else in the movie. I guess I don't know where they came from. I guess they just filmed them off to the ide. Maybe we're going to make a different movie, and they're like, you know what? let's just throw these on the beginning of this one. It starts with a weird rape thingy. Some very Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes.
Yeah, I saw that some people, when they reviewed this, they kind of tried to compare it to Friday the 13th, but it gave me a little bit more of like a Just Before Dawn type of vibe more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't know how you saw it, but yeah. Yeah. Tony.
Well, I was gonna say I think because Herschel Gordon Lewis like does the voiceover in the beginning and everything, I think I'm hoping that's why this movie is the way it is, because it's kind of like if they're paying like tribute to him, like the way the movie is, it's kind of like watching a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. In a way, it's like the dialogue is kind of weird, and the voices like the overdubbing. That's how it is. Like I think that's why it is the way it is. But like, yeah, it's kind of like starts off like how you would think it would, like, yeah.
Atypical.
Yeah. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I guess, I don't know if this is like Herschel Gordon Lewis's last voice heard on a movie ever. It could be, because
Probably.
he died like, what did this come out in 2017, and I guess recording in 2016 or 15, and he died in 2016. So that might be the last time you ever heard his voice in a movie. So
True.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that this movie, definitely just follows your usual slasher type thing. Lots of good gore. In fact, the gore effects were pretty good in this. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
Get some naked flesh. Never go wrong with naked flesh. I know Sean agrees with me there.
Right.
How did you guys feel about the acting overall? Did it work for you in this? I mean, I know we kind of have our expectations at certain levels, because I don't. So some of these are rising stars, so to speak. They're trying to make their mark in acting. So how did you feel about it, Tony?
See, that I wasn't expecting it to be the way it was. I don't think I don't think anybody was particularly bad at acting. I think they just might have been told a certain way, like how to act in it, because or maybe the overdubbing is kind of like dry at times. It is like, no, like hey, you said you'd come over here with me. It's like I think that's on purpose. It has to be on purpose, because
The dialogue and script.
Yeah.
You don't really see their acting because of the ADR, so you only hear them in the recording booth later. You don't really see what their actual acting was, just what they recorded after the fact. So it's kind of hard to
your
judge.
experience, Sean, like, because you direct movies like that too. Do you find that with these actors, it's kind of more of nervousness, or is it just they're still trying to find their approach to acting in general? Like, I can't do it. I know I'm not an actor, so like, even though I've said in the whenever you do a future film, I want to be in there somewhere as a cameo. I know I can't act out of a bag, so I'll just keep my mouth shut and sit in the corner. But I just wonder, like, because you always look at these kind of B-rated movies, and sometimes some of these stars end up going on having great careers and some don't. But in your experience as a director, is it just kind of nervousness usually?
It's maybe a little bit, but I think a lot of it is sort of the direction and the
So it's kind of meant to be like camp in general.
Yeah, it's probably obviously it's not supposed to be like super serious. Obviously there's some humor written into the film. They are trying to be funny a lot of the times. But and like I said, the acting, you don't really get a good example of it because you don't hear it. You only hear the after the fact ADR, so you just hear them a lot of the time, which that is acting as well as voice acting in a way. But it's very flat recording, which maybe on set they had more of a sort of like a different cadence to the way they were doing it. I don't know what happened, if it was because the sound was so bad they couldn't use it, or if they just didn't record when they were filming. That's possible too. I'm not sure what the deal was, but so it's kind of hard to judge the acting, but I do think that actors acting in these movies just isn't great. Like, that's just how it is, in lower budget movies. Like,
that's sort of the appeal too. So
yeah, like, they're great actors in a lot of these movies, but sometimes you don't give them enough to work with. You don't give them the right tools to work with. You don't give them enough time, not enough takes. So you can't really judge them necessarily if they're good or bad. But I mean, it's just like, it sort of adds to the whole appeal of the sort of campy nature of these kind of movies. It's like, it's what you don't go in there for, like an Oscar-winning performance. You go in there to see some gore and boobs. That's sort of what you're there for. And it excels at both, really. This is a pretty good example of both those things.
Yeah, one thing was like I know with the actress Jenny Janetti who plays Angelica, I think she's the main counselor. Uh, that had to be a blonde wig, right? I wasn't like freaking out or looking at it wrong. Like it looks like a wig to me.
Oh yeah,
Just like
Yeah,
a very bad one.
yeah, because
Huh?
she takes it off.
Yeah, she takes it off at some point.
Oh, she does. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't even catch that.
I don't know why she did.
Yeah, I was
but-
like, it just looks so off. Like,
I
I
was-
don't know why she was
I-
wearing it in the first place, but
Right.
right.
Well, that's the thing. Like nowadays, it's just people are wearing a wig. Okay, people don't usually say anything. Well, back in the day, it's like, is that a wig? But now it's like, oh, she's wearing a wig. She wants to wear a wig, whatever. And then when she took it off, I thought, oh, okay, she did it on purpose. Good, because that looked.
All right, well, that makes more sense now.
wig
'Cause, like,
looked a
I
little
kept going,
too
like,
fake.
what is going on here? Like, is nobody in the camp looking at this? Like, that's not real.
I don't think those kids cared about her hair, to be honest.
Yeah, they didn't care about a whole lot as it was.
One is worried about cigarettes and getting laid. That's all they're worried about.
It's a perfect recipe for a slasher film.
Yeah. But yeah, I never thought of that. Like I mean, yeah, there are people that probably are really good actors and they don't get enough takes. I never thought of that, like getting enough. Like the director could be like, no, that's good enough, and then maybe the actor's like, I could do that way better. I never took that into consideration, to be honest. Like that's an idea. Gives me a different perspective, I guess. Like, yeah, wow, that was a lot of gore right there.
Yeah.
I should say too, after I watched this, I watched the second one right away.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and
How
it's
did,
like-
how did
the
that
second
compare?
one's out. When did that come out?
it just came out like not long ago, a couple
really?
weeks now. Yeah, it's
Hello.
obviously has a bigger budget. Like we won't get into it or anything, but like it has a bigger budget. The story goes a little different. Obviously, it's like a lot different. It's like a whole other group of people, and I don't even think they talk about the first one, to be honest. But like, yeah, it's not like you said, it might have been bad sound or something in the first one. They overdubbed it, but there's nothing like that in this one. It's just like regular sound, like regular lines. It doesn't sound too dry, like delivery or anything. But you
Is the
definitely
second
tell
one
they
supposed
had
to
a
be
bigger
kind of like
budget.
a soft reboot, or is it like a whole new story?
It's a whole new story, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this one, yeah, a lot of killing. I think in this cover too. So there's a difference. This is Wild Eye Raw and Extreme. So I don't know if like the ones that you saw had the Raw and Extreme, but I think I read somewhere like it's not much extra. So like whatever you
That's
saw.
the same one I have.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think there's probably only the one.
It probably is.
I don't know if it ever came out on Blu-ray or any other DVD format, but I'm pretty sure that's probably the only one.
Yeah, I mean, if it was on Blu-ray, I probably would have had it on Blu-ray. I like DVD, but like, I'm weird. Like I see this on the shelf together, and it's like that bothers me. I don't know. I'm weird.
Oh yeah, yeah. All my Blu-rays are separate from my DVDs.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that.
I initially didn't, but probably going forward, once we get moved, I'll probably do that. When I packed them according to DVD and Blu-rays, but I always try to at least keep the genres close, the same, etc. But some of my stuff's like Blu-ray and action. Sometimes are just old school DVDs that I've had for years and stuff like that.
Yeah,
My wife
Can't let
insists
them
on
go.
alphabetical.
Yeah.
all my movies
You
are
guys probably have so
alphabetical.
many. She's like, I gotta have it alphabetical, Sean. I can't find anything.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
So, what is basically your favorite moment in the film, or maybe killer, best scene, death scene? We'll start with Sean.
Don't put me on the spot like that. Hold on. I don't know. The kills are all pretty good. I can't think of any specific one that stands out from the others. But they were all pretty solid overall. the movie definitely has some pretty solid special effects. It's pretty good kills. So I'm just gonna go the whole overall like blood and gore factor of it. Yeah, it's just my favorite part of the film.
I did kind of like the one with the girl, of course, getting her throat slit, because I thought that was a nice, realistic effect with it kind of just jutting out right away, you know. And I think the only problem I would have is like a lot of the scenes seem like they're a little bit too quick. And I guess part of that's just because editing and budget, and of course, you know, you don't want to give away too much in terms of the special effect itself. So you kind of want to make it okay. It looks good. That's enough.
I thought the kills were really over the top. I thought, because I just watched the second one as well, I think this one is a little more gross, like with the eating and stuff. I don't remember. I don't know, but I don't think they ate people in the second one, but this one they did, and it was like in the beginning when he like with the whole R scene and everything, and he like starts eating the leg or whatever, and then like makes her eat it. It's like that's pretty fucking gross. It's like, ugh, because like I know it's like real food or something. They're not giving them a leg to eat, but like
they may have been chewing on latex. I don't know.
That I think that'd be just as bad, you know. But like it convinces you enough that that's actually, at least me anyway, that's an actual leg, and it's kind of like, oh, it's gross, you know. Like certain things get to me and some things don't, but like the graininess and the realism of it kind of like it grossed me out. Like I didn't throw up or anything. It just like I say this all the time. I put myself in that situation. What would I do? And then I think it just gets in my brain, and then I'm like, oh, I would throw up. But yeah, it's kind of a like this guy like does it with this girl. Like there's the two of them in the beginning, and it's supposed to be the 60s, right? It's like the 60s, and then like she's pregnant and then has a kid, and now it's like I think it's like, is it late 70s or the early 80s or something like that? It's supposed to take place in, so that's why these kids are the
1989 is what it says at the beginning.
89. Yeah, because the second one actually is 1999 that they're in. So, yeah.
It's funny just from a
character. Oh, go ahead.
It's funny just from a production design standpoint. That in the 1960s, the characters are there's some heavily tattooed characters, and like that doesn't make sense. And there's also in 1989 heavily tattooed characters that doesn't really make sense because they're not. No one was really heavily tattooed, at least on normal, average, everyday people until like the 2000s, you know. And so,
right.
It's just kind of funny that was just 1962, and this dude has tattoos. Like that's pretty unusual.
Yeah, I think a lot of the body art starting like the very late 90s, early 2000s, so it wouldn't have really existed that much on that level back then.
Yeah. Obviously it exists. It just was not common at all.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a funny thing thinking from a production design standpoint, but obviously it's a low budget movie. It's just for fun. How many films have I directed? I've directed 3 films, 2 shorts, and 1 feature. Yes, Night of the Axe.
Which I think Kevin has seen that, so he should know that film, actually.
I hope you liked it.
And I still say Tony's Death's the best one in it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
One
of the characters I really liked in this film was the guy that plays Sheriff Parks, Rick Germain. Like I thought he was hilarious in this.
Also in Night of the Axe.
Yep, I was gonna say. And Raccoon.
And Raccoon, yeah. Brad Twigg works with the same people a lot.
Yeah.
I think Rick Germain in all of his movies.
I like that because I like the group that he has. You know, some people work with people, and I'm like, oh, I wish that one wasn't in a movie again, you know? But, like, just because probably their part was annoying or something in the other movie. But, like, I like when a director uses the same people over and over again.
Well, the funny thing is, it's not uncommon. I mean, fucking Tim
No.
Burton does it all the time. Same with
Everybody-
Tarantino. Tarantino uses a lot of the same ones.
Yeah, Adam Sandler, uses the same. Coen Brothers, it works. It's a formula. It works.
Yeah, because you're already familiar with what they can do, and
Yeah.
generally they do act very well for whatever role they want. So
Yeah, the group of kids in this one though are not in the second one. Yeah, kids. Sorry, I don't want to spoil the ending, but there is a little cameo at the ending, which is pretty cool, I will say, and they did in the second one. But yeah, where are we in the movie? We're talking about the movie. We're kind of just talking about.
Well, we were kind of just an early part of it where they're all kind of like sitting around the campfire and they're kind of just each have their own little bit of problems, but
Yeah, they're like sharing their stories.
There's like tension though because they don't all get along with one another, so they all have their own little attitudes.
Yeah,
and like I said, John, who's played by Julio Bana. I can't remember the girl he's been. I think it's Christy, maybe. I'm just kind of throwing it out because they don't have pictures, and I can't remember the girl he's with. But the girl is more of a shy, and not very confrontational girl. She gets picked on by a couple other girls in the film.
That will be the character of Laura, played by Lubba Hansen, I think.
Lubba Hansen.
Okay.
I also met her. She's signed the DVD as well. I have her signature on there.
Oh,
nice.
How were they? Did you meet like a lot of the cast when you bought the DVD?
I remember I met Brad and Lubba, and there were a couple people. There were like two other girls there, but I don't remember who they were exactly. And I didn't really recognize them when I watched the movie afterwards. So I do not remember. I do remember specifically Lubba and Brad.
It's an unusual name, Lubba.
Yeah, she's some sort of Eastern European.
Oh, well, that makes sense. You know what? Now these okay. I just thought she had like an accent for the movie or something. No, that's really okay. Yeah, all these teens are sitting around the fire and they're kind of like sharing their story. And then John, which is like the main guy, he's like, "What if we don't want to share our stories?" And they're sharing a story. And that's actually like one of the more serious parts of the movie. That girl that like was talking about like self-mutilation. It was kind of a touching, like serious part. I thought honestly, Shawn, it's YouTube. We can't show pussy on the screen.
Kitty.
Even if it's a nice black one. Anyway,
hey now,
like I thought that her. See, again, there's no pictures. I can't remember who the hell they are. But like,
I'm working on it.
She I thought that was like the best, most serious part of the movie to me was her talk about it. I believed her, and where I don't know if I hope not. I don't know if the scarring is real, but it looked like a good effect too. Like they don't show her doing it, but like,
it was a pretty good effect if it wasn't real, which I don't think it was real. It's most likely an effect.
I hope it was an effect, but yeah, it was done very well if it was. But yeah, they just it's kind of like the character development part of the movie, and I'm sure everybody like knows who the most annoying one was on there, and like I mean they're kind of annoying in a way if you think about it. But yeah, it's just an interesting way to like get to know everybody because there's a lot of people in it, and I don't know. After you watched the whole campfire part, is there anybody in it that you like that died? I know we'll talk about the story, but like anybody that died in it that like you were like, oh man, I wish they didn't, pass on.
Not really.
Me either.
That's one method of making a slasher film. Make every character just the most miserable asshole you've ever come across. Now, personally, I'm not really into that sort of vibe, but it happens a lot. And some people just, I don't know. I guess they just find those kind of characters more interesting to write and play. I don't know.
The lovable asshole, as I like to say.
Well, not that lovable.
No. Well, I mean, they want to be the lovable asshole, and then they just end up being the asshole.
Your character in Night of the Axe was kind of like that.
Lovable asshole, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's kind of how in Crackoon the one guy is having sex with Morgan. His character is like supposed to be the lovable asshole, but he's just kind of an asshole in it. But he's in the second one, and his character's almost the same, but I like him in it. So it's weird. It's weird.
Well, you know what's funny is they probably could have did some reverse mojo for this one, because you know the running stereotype joke is like the black guy always dies. I mean, it would have been kind of cool if he still lived. Like, even despite how annoying he was, it would have been great if he managed to survive.
Yeah.
And of course, there's Janetti with the very bad wig that no one seemed to notice.
That's another thing too. Like, who's given permission for these kids to come out into the woods? Like, it's not a good idea to bring these, city kids with troubles in the woods, you know, with a counselor that, like, obviously is not qualified. You know, like how do these things happen? It's funny.
I think she mentions that the counselor was the fat dude who got lost in the woods. He was the actual counselor, I think.
Oh, the guy who,
yeah,
Gary Lee Vincent.
I guess.
Was he the counselor?
I think so. He got lost in the woods. He was cheating on someone.
Counselor got lost in the woods. Well, it explains a lot, because obviously when Angelica's like pretending to be the counselor, it's like she looks a little young to be a counselor, like, you know, because she's the same age as everyone else. I'm like, and she's constantly hitting on the black guy. Just like,
yeah, he was like,
it's not appropriate.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on? Because he's supposed to be a what, Sean?
Oh, a teenager.
Yeah.
The teenager.
Yeah. He was annoying though. Like he was the asshole, like, with the troubles. And what bothered me the most, trouble part that bothered me the most, is where he like took the cigarettes out of that guy's pocket. He's like, "You said you didn't have any cigarettes." He's like, "No, you asshole." He said he only had enough for himself for the weekend. He didn't say he didn't have any. I don't know. Like, I'm yelling at the TV, like, that's what he said.
Oh yeah.
He also mentions. Oh, that's also. I don't know if that's a bad wig or what.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't last long in this movie. They die very quickly. Except for, of course, the main cast, but you have Nadia White, which is an actual corn star. I don't want you to get your video in trouble, but she's an
You're
actual
not gonna get in
porn
trouble.
star.
I didn't know she was a porn star. What name did she go by?
Nadia White, same name.
Really?
Yeah,
I guess she had to be new, right?
I think she was in. I think she was in Don't Fuck in the Woods as well.
She's in lots of horror
I
movies.
saw that one. That one. One of them. They have a couple of them.
Yeah.
See, now I'm hunting down pictures to look who she is. Okay.
See, even though I just watched this last night, there's a lot going on in the movie that, like, and being that I watched the second one right after, I'm kind of like trying not to mix the two together because it's kind of like the same formula. But like
Okay,
that guy in the beginning,
okay.
the guy in the beginning, and he's like the main guy, like, that's like, you know, when he's like people are getting killed, internet. I thought the kill with where they show the girl with the red hair, the pink hair, where he put the arrow through her eye, was really cool. and like done very well. Like it's definitely gross and believable at times with the kills, but like there's a lot of like decapitations, guts falling all over and stuff like that. And they're also cannibals, people eating stuff. So, which adds a whole nother layer to it. But yeah, it's not much. I mean, I want to say there's not much to talk about because there's a lot that goes on. But it's mainly just people like, okay, here they go here and they get killed or, whatever. But like the story is mainly focused on John and that girl, and he has the thing for her. And I don't know what her problem is. Like, I don't know. I don't remember why she's there, but she's like kind of a, John, she's been John. And then, like she kept saying his name at one point in time, which like was funny. That old guy was also looking through the woods with the sheriff. He was in Raccoon, as well, and he kept going, Candy. I
think that's the guy who wrote Return of the Living Dead.
Is it really?
I think so. John Russo. I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. See, I didn't look at his IMDb. I'm terrible with faces and that, but like, yeah, he did write it, and the 1990 version, and Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck! Well, I liked him. I'm not making fun of him. Like, I just thought the way he was saying candy over there and over again was funny. But yeah, I wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that he did that.
Tony's all wet now.
Well, you think I would know? I'm Mr. Tony.
Well, like I said, for me, like the movie has a little bit of a Just Before Dawn vibe, and I love the killer. Like I love the axe. Like
yeah.
That's our killer there, one of them anyway. Spoiler alert. So you got this dude, and then this is a little bit better shot of the axe. Like it's like road signs, but he reminds me a little bit of a Viking.
It's like a road sign plus like a metal American flag looking thing.
It is a pretty neat axe.
Yeah.
It's definitely homemade.
You should have got that from when you met him, Sean, and said, "Hey, where's the prop for this? I want it."
Maybe you could have a crossover, Sean.
Maybe.
Actually, I was gonna say if you found a way to get a hold of that and like in one of your future projects, like just insert it somewhere, that would be such a great callback.
Shawn Wright and Brad Twigg together on I don't know, Night of the Axe 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
The samurai would say. Yeah. Now, what about this guy? This guy was a bit of a
yeah.
He was probably one of my favorites. He was pretty funny.
Yeah, very random.
And for whatever reason, he immediately reminded me of the dude from Devil's Rejects that was selling the roosters, chickens. It's like, nah, you ain't gonna fuck these chickens now, are you?
Yeah, you don't see him right until the ending, like until like later on. He's in the second one though. And I'll be honest, I didn't know he was a small guy. Like until the second one, I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that. Like he's like this movie has a lot going for it. It has murder, mayhem, underage things, and necrophilia. Well, I don't want to say pedo, but it has necrophilia in it. It's got a lot going on for it.
Well, yeah, the character Angelica, when she kind of reveals herself, is like she's morbid as hell.
Yeah, it's a. Well, what happens? Okay, let's talk about the movie. We're kind of all over the place. I think we're all in the same boat. Like we don't know exactly what to say.
Well, you said it kind of like the movie is pretty straightforward in terms of it's more just about the deaths and stuff like this. So it's more about like this movie's more about like the details. Like so you're looking at certain things like the axe stands out for a certain reason, or the gore and special effects are really top notch in this. So like the story itself is something you've seen 100 times. Like it's not breaking any new ground.
Yeah.
But and that's why you can sit there and explain it all day long. And people like, yeah, okay, but what's new? So I think it really explained is all the details about like the acting or the people involved and the special effects and stuff. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, you're right, because like I think the story is kind of just something it's not like you haven't seen it before, but like I think they're really just focused on the gore. And
yeah, because I mean, by the time you get to the end of it, it starts turning into Texas Chainsaw Massacre because we find out the twist that there's other people involved with this family, and it's
twists and turns.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I think of is TCM. It's like, okay, I've seen this before, but okay, I'm writing it. I like the gore and the effects and stuff, so it's fun.
Yeah, I could see the TCM. I could also, obviously, because the homage to Herschel Gordon Lewis because of the over the top scalping, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like my favorite kill in it, to be honest, but like they're all so bloody. I can't like really remember. I do remember the not that I don't remember. It's just like I can't really say which one was better than the other, but like the scalping was pretty cool. You don't really I should say, it's not like he's a supernatural thing. He's an actual person. So, but nobody tries to reason with them at all. Like, like nobody goes, no, please don't. But like, I don't know. It's just like it's a weird situation with a bunch of kids in the woods with somebody who's not much older than them. And they're supposed to be there to work out their problems. And by the end of the weekend, they're supposed to be all rehabilitated and all that shit. And murder and mayhem ensues. And then you have your ending where it's like the twist and twist and twist. And you go from there.
Weird situation is probably a bit of an understatement.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, too, like we were talking about how this was shot. And it makes me want to go back and listen to the commentary or something. But like, did anybody else? I know you said you watched like somebody else do a review of this, Anubis. Did they mention the dialogue and stuff too? Like, did they like explain why they think it might be? Because like, I just
no, they didn't really get in detail with that. They were, they obviously talked about how much they loved the acting and the effects itself, and of course they were basically crowing about a lot of different things. They didn't really have a lot of nitpicks about it.
Yeah.
So but that's probably because they went in expecting camp fun, and that's what they got. They didn't overanalyze it or anything.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting because Shawn brought up the whole like, what do you call it, ADR?
Yep.
So was that used in this film? Like you were able to spot that? Because like I didn't even realize that for myself.
Me either.
Well, yeah, I mean their voice doesn't match a lot of it. Like their mouths don't match what they're saying a lot of the time. You can tell that.
Okay.
Is that's what you mean? Okay.
And
so they had to go back and just basically re-say something or try to say it correctly what the director wanted over the film.
No, it's basically just overdubbing. So like, if you have to like, if the sound is bad or something, or you just don't record sound for that, you have to go back and get the actor to read the line again and try to match their mouth as best as you can. Again, I don't know why. I don't know what the reason for that would be. I don't know if they just didn't record the audio, period, or if it was just so bad because you're in the woods. I can imagine.
Well, that's what I was wondering, like, because sometimes you have wind and stuff, so you've shot outdoors a little bit. Does that affect you a lot when you're trying to do stuff like that?
Oh yeah, it's bad. Yeah, shooting outdoors is kind of a nightmare. But sometimes you can get through. Sometimes you get lucky.
Now, whenever you've done a scene like that, because you got birds chirping and all this other stuff. Do you have to go back into your sound console and basically adjust the noise behind it? Is it like a real tedious process for that?
Yeah, I did have trouble with one scene in particular when I did Night of the Axe. It was very bad sound, but I managed to make it sound halfway decent. So, yeah, it's a specific outdoor scene where two characters are just standing outside of a house. It was a little rough to get that audio where I needed it to be, but I was able to do it. But it definitely can be a headache. So I can understand the audio just being completely unusable if you're like shooting in the woods, like that is like the middle of nowhere. That would be difficult. Like I had like cars driving by. I had birds chirping. I had all kinds of stuff going. I had dogs barking. People yelling. It was just a residential neighborhood. Rubbing.
Just like that, we gotta get the sound effects to take out that sound in the background.
Right. I know what part you're talking about too, and until you just said that, now I noticed what you're talking about, but I think you fixed it fine. I mean, it seemed like they were yelling across the street to each other, and I think in Crackoon, this behind the scenes, there's the one part where he's running down the road, and the movie everything's fine, like the sound is fine, but I guess it's like the raw audio or whatever on the special features, and you could tell the difference how they fixed it, and it's bad. It's like it hurts your ears. It's like the treble's like so loud, like it's like, oh, it hurts your ears, but then they fixed it and it sounds good. So I didn't notice any sound problems with Night of the Axe or anything like that. So, but like, yeah, that part that you're mentioning, I know what you're talking about, but like, I think you did a good job. I'm not kissing your ass either.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not.
He's licking that taint so hard right now.
Licking it. Does he look like he's complaining?
Poor Shawn.
You're welcome.
This is what we subject him to.
Goddamn kitty!
Kitty cat.
Knock it out, kitty!
I literally have to fucking like lock mine out because otherwise they'd be up my ass right now. It's like they always know when I'm trying to do something that they don't need to be around for. And then when I'm not doing anything, they're just like lazing around.
Yep, he's eating the computer.
Yeah.
Come on, knock it off.
See, yeah, that's all I hear is like this pitter pat.
We're trying to talk about necrophilia
like,
here,
you
cat.
need to talk about me. I am important. I am the cat. Well, I was checking out some scores on Letterboxd, and most of them have it about like 3.5 out of 5. And one person kept it pretty simple. They said over the top gore, boobs, corny dialogue, and solid B-rated horror. That's how they listed it with the 3 stars.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you kind of know what you're getting into. Obviously this is more for people like us to enjoy and appreciate B-horror and grew up on a lot of this stuff over the years. And of course, Shawn is the director of such type films. So that makes sense. For other people that are snobs, they're not going to really dig this kind of stuff.
Yeah. The people who just want to shit on things will just shit on things,
And now Shawn's doing his Dr. Evil impression.
Yes, I agree with everything you're saying. That wasn't Dr. Evil, obviously, but
Mr. Snugglesworth.
How about new?
Yeah.
Cats don't like that word.
Yeah. Well, see, it's funny because if I say it to Hazel, who's basically the dumbass, she just looks at me and runs away. If I say it to Neko, the younger one, she looks at me like, what's that mean? That's like yes, right? Or maybe. It's like we have to have this dialogue of matching eyes, and like she just stares me down. She just doesn't get it.
You gotta do the slow
She
blink.
gives no fucks at all. I can say no, yes, whatever. She's like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm the one that rules the house, not you.
Yeah, you in my house.
Basically, yeah. All right. Well, let's give our scores. Let's start with Tony.
Oh man, I don't want to be, too negative or anything because I thought the gore was great. Story was pretty good. I get it. That I don't know why the dialogue was the way it is. I think that was a big problem for me. Maybe it's a charm to it. Nobody. Not that like the over. I kind of think it's on purpose. That's what I'm thinking. It was on purpose, and I'm sure the audio was bad, but I mean, I think you could have went back and did it more, like to get it right, because the delivery was very dry, and it does seem like a not a retro, but like a older movie, low budget, but I think the gore alone was great. Like I said, our hero in the movie was somewhat likable, but I don't know. I think I would have to just give this movie like a 5. It's kind of like okay.
Mm-hmm.
I could take it or leave it, I guess, kind
Out
of
of
thing.
10.
Out of 10. 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Out of 10. So it's like I said, that's why it's like it's okay. I think Brad Twigg has some good stuff out there, and I think some of them are a miss. Like Crackoon's fucking. I love Crackoon. Killer Campout, not as much. That's all I'll say.
Sean.
I hate to be overly critical because half these people who are in this movie are on my friends list on Facebook. But
Don't worry, I'll do the voiceover after you're done.
My main issue with a lot of sort of low budget indie films, they tend to have a lot of dead space in them, like just a lot of just like dialogue heavy stuff. Like they're just going on a lot. There's this, and a lot of the times they're not funny. So it's like sort of like people, they're like trying to be funny, but they're not really that funny. It just sort of drags on. Like you probably could have shaved a good like 10-15 minutes off this movie.
Yeah.
But like, I don't mean to be overly critical. I understand that the movie's supposed to be an hour and a half. That's what the idea is. But not every movie has to be an hour and a half. It could be 70 minutes. It could be 80 minutes, which I think this one is actually closer to 80. But so while the gore, I did enjoy the gore. I enjoyed all the flesh. That was fun. But overall, I'd probably give it about probably like a 4 out of 10. That's probably a reasonable
Fair.
for me, because I mean, like I said, the gore was great. Our music was pretty good too. I didn't really mention we never really mentioned the score, and the music was pretty good too.
Yes.
So it had a pretty good score. Kills were good. But other than that, it was a very sort of, it just sort of dragged on of like I get it. You want to make a movie, and that includes dialogue. So you just
kind of rough around the edges a little bit.
Yeah, rough around the edges, and that's like it just sort of drags on a bit too long with the characters just sort of farting around. But when there's actually something going on, it's pretty good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a perfect way to examine it. It's funny too because you mentioned the time of the movie. Like, I sometimes shy away from films that aren't at least an hour and a half because I feel like, oh my god, this means there's not any character depth or something else is missing. There's not enough meat in there, so then I get kind of shy about watching something that's like an hour long or whatever. But sometimes you're right. Sometimes that might be better if you're cutting out the fat. And in this case, probably could have used cutting out some of that fat and just sticking with what was working. As you guys stated that the special effects are amazing in this. It's really one of the best things about it. A part of me wanted to say, is this like Brad's first outing? But he had some films before this, which I've never seen them. But I wonder how they compare to even this one, because he had probably like 10 or more films before this one came out that he worked on. So I don't really know how to compare that to, like, maybe Tony can say how the second film in this series is. You said it was a better budget than the second one than this one. So who knows how, you said it sounded much better than this. So yeah, it's all about budgets. I mean, Shawn knows all about that too, because he's trying to work on his next project that he can hopefully get started soon and do. We definitely want one. But I'm with you guys. I'm more with Shawn here. I think it's like a 4 out of 10 for me, but it's not really me trying to say it's a bad film because it has a lot of cool stuff in it. But it is rough around the edges for me, and it's hard to kind of get through some of those moments. The dialogue. I didn't even realize they were doing voiceovers, but it makes sense from what I'm watching. Like the way that Shawn explained it, totally makes sense of what I'm seeing on the film. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, Tony, what do you got coming up for your channel? Anything?
Well, just put up a review of Crackoon yesterday. I think I'm gonna put a review up of this. I just watched Grandma. Yeah, it's from
or we can do King Diamond's version.
Bobby Knapp Jr.
Grandma. Bobby, thank you. I didn't want to say his name wrong. I knew it's Knapp Jr., but couldn't think of his first name.
Yeah, but
don't have a conniption.
Yeah, I supported that one in Indiegogo. That's a pretty good movie.
Right. It's weird. Like Brad Twigg, I've seen like movies that like I think he did like an excellent job in it, or like with it. And then there's ones that I saw that like, they still kind of put the same amount of, all in, but it didn't work for me. And I think Bobby does the same thing. Like I tried to watch, I should say, and if he ever watches this, I'm sorry, but he did this like comedy, like beach comedy. And like Shawn said, like they're trying to be funny and it's just like not funny. And I was like, oh, that. And then Grandma, and I watched the trailer for it. It was somebody posted on Facebook. I was like, oh wow. And then I watched it, and it's like perfect homage to like low budget horror. It's got like the choppiness to it's really the angels in it. There's a scene in that where I would say that needs to be cut too, like down a little bit. All it is she's looking for this cat that she hears, and it just goes on for way too long. That's the only thing. But like I'm probably going to be reviewing that. I kind of want to watch it again with Shayna and have her review it with me. So I might if that happens, it'll be out like next week. But my box from Australia is on its way here. It's in America, so I'll be doing that unboxing.
To America.
Yeah.
You order a kangaroo?
I did from McDonald's. No. Remember when they think that
it's a box full of funnel web spiders? That's what it is.
No, yeah, it accidentally went to my house instead of yours. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Like I said, I have things on the back burner, but I haven't really sat down to think about it yet. But like exactly how I want to do things. But yeah, just this, and then we have. Well, on Friday I have. Or is it? Yeah, Friday is Taste of the Blood Part 1. So I'll be going on Kevin's channel doing that. And other than this, not much. That's about it. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's this month is a lot of things, but not a lot on my channel. I had to burp. I'm sorry.
Jeez, man.
I had to burp. A burp from
So for me and the Metal Tavern, tomorrow, a couple things going on, 1:00 p.m., although it won't be live. Kevin Lambert from the Antenna Headquarters, who's been in chat with us today. He and I are doing another episode of Cinematic Synergy. We'll be reviewing The Sadness, Korean film, which is fucking amazing. Then later in the evening, Edgar Allan Poe, who I usually do my football stuff with, are going to sit. We're going to watch Salem's Lot together, the remake, and then review it. And
oh boy,
so far I'm hearing very horrid things about it. So I'm just like, got to prepare myself mentally for this one. Usually next week, people will expect us to do Ghouls of Midnight on Wednesday. It might still happen. I'll keep Tony updated, but got things going on with the house right now with like workers coming in and it may be too loud. So if it doesn't happen next Wednesday, the next Wednesday after that, the 23rd, he and I are going to sit down with Wes Craven's Shocker and review that. He's never seen it, which I'm going to love his reaction for that. I'm sure Sean's seen it, right?
Yeah, that's a movie you can trim some fat out of.
Oh, okay.
And then on the 31st, I am going to be doing an interview early in the day with Rick Myers, the author, who usually guests on Samurai's channel for his action film autopsy show and the Verses. So I'll be interviewing him, and then later in the evening, I think I'll be seeing Tony again as we do a live stream of the movie Lake Mungo. I've got some paneled guests that we're going to review that film. So got some things still in the works, trying to fill in the blank where we can while the wife and I pack up the house a little bit and get shit in top shape order.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for us. I know, Sean, I know you were on hiatus right now with your second project, but I'm hoping, I know Tony's hoping that at some point you do get that going again. And if we can help in any way, please let us know.
So,
I know we tried to do like a crowdfunding thing or whatever. Just keep us updated on what the status is of that.
Yeah, so I did it. I did the Indiegogo for Spirit Board, the feature-length version of my second short film. So I did an Indiegogo for that. I made about $2,500, which was good. But unfortunately, that's just not really enough because it's probably gonna be about $2,500 just for the special effects. But hopefully, maybe some people will be willing to buy a couple more Night of the Axe DVDs. I have some super early pre-order things you can do, so you can get a DVD or Blu-ray of Spirit Board now, and when it's done, you'll get it. So it's a couple things like that. I'd be willing to, do some investment things if anyone's interested in that. I don't know. Whatever it takes to make this next movie, I'd be happy with like, 3,000 or 4,000. That would be ideal. So I mean, I could just keep on.
Kind of like your short-term goal is about $4,000.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I feel comfortable with that. Because unfortunately, I'm just not in the position right now to self-finance any other film projects. I had too much personal things going on right now, and I can't touch my computer. But I have just some personal stuff going on, just some debt. It's just a little difficult to work on the movie right now and self-finance it, unfortunately. But with some help, it will be, I'd be able to do it. Hopefully, I'm hoping I'll be able to do sometime next year. That would be great. To start filming anyway. That would be amazing. All the cast is still attached, as far as I know. Everyone's still on board to work with me on it. So I'm pretty happy about that. I just, got to get the funds together, and then we can do it. We can knock it out.
Yeah, I think you gave me some ideas. So once we get off, I'll talk to you a little bit about that and see what your thoughts are. But thank you for joining us for this review. Obviously, Tony, thank you for being here, Mr. Facebook impaired.
Don't even get me started, man.
For the rest of you, please go and like and subscribe to Mr. Tony the Dead. Please go down and check out Night of the Axe and buy the DVD. It's a great film. It's really fun. A lot of great acting in it. Also, like and share this video if you like it, enjoyed it. Hopefully, give us your comments. What do you think of Killer Campout? Any feedback is appreciated. And of course, we'll see you next time here on the Meltdown Radio Podcast. Cheers.
Just a bit for you.